Welcome to the Gentleman's Talk, where the podcast talks about a man's battle with mental health, his personal experiences, and his journey to be a better soul. Hosted by James Dean Littlejohn.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Gentleman's Talk. Hope we're all alright. Here we are on Sunday. Is it evening yet? It is, Sunday evening. Got the mellow tunes on, just reflecting, and don't know if it's too. Hopefully that's not too loud. Just trying to gauge the right volume for that music, because I enjoy it. I must admit. So, the lad podcast, the last podcast for me was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I was just so relaxed because I got to actually. I'm trying to incorporate. The relaxation into this podcast. I'm really invested in this. I can't even say it. I really enjoy these podcasts. So much good feedback from it as well, which is really positive for me. Because I know that I'm helping people, but I'm not, physically having to help them. But at the same time, just from talking, it is helping. And like I say, just enjoyed the music, just relax. I'm just relaxing here on Sunday afternoon. Have an amazing day. Loads and loads to talk about, loads to think about, loads to just sort of digest. Really, I sound a bit groggy because I'm a little bit tired from today. So, but it falls in nicely into the segment that I want to talk about today. Just some stuff that I've really been sort of researching, thinking about, and as this podcast is growing. The feedback I'm getting is it's really sort of positive for me, but at the same time, people are asking questions, and like I said, I'm no therapist, I'm no guru at this. This is just straight from the heart. This is just straight for what has worked for me and what is working for me, and we go back and forth with emotions all the time, and sometimes I do get concerned that we chuck the word depression around quite easily nowadays. There's days where, you can feel sad, and there's days where you can, this is just a sort of topic we were talking about today, me and my friend, and you can talk about these things, and, we all have good days and we all have bad days. It's human nature, isn't it? It's when it's for prolonged periods that it starts to grate, it starts to wear you down, and I've been doing a lot of research, actually, since my last podcast where I spoke quite heavily about well-being, because I think it's such an important part is, to look after your well-being. If you look after your well-being, you'll be a better person. And everything around you sort of kind of fits in and just sort of kind of works. And this is where I kind of wanted this to grow today. I wanted to just really, really reiterate again and again, well-being, mental health well-being, because with good well-being, it promotes resilience. It gives you that foundation, that barrier to just fight the negativity. So it's just really important to nurture well-being, and that's why I want to. I'm going to do a second segment on it. But at the same time, this is Reflection Sunday, isn't it? So it's really important to talk about the week and how I've managed the week, my ups, my downs. Because I've had them this week. I have them most weeks, to be honest. But again, I'm developing coping mechanisms, and I'm developing things and nurturing different areas that are really helping with my day-to-day life. And that's why I enjoy this so much, because this platform just gives me that ability to talk openly to a microphone. And this is exactly how we put it when I was talking to my friend today, to talk openly to a microphone and share open experiences that I've endured and I've had. Because I do get them, believe it or not. I may come across to some people as quite confident, and I am. I'm probably, border on that arrogance at some point. But to be honest, that is what's got me through my life. I think is having that confidence, and that confidence is a mask. I'm telling you now. There's times where, it sort of crippled me, and because it's sort of counterinproductive is the word I'm looking for. Counterintuitive is the word I'm looking for. Of confidence can work in positive, it can work in a negative. Like, for confidence, you can be confident, you come across, and you can be great at your job, and you can be great at your relationship, great at finding partners, etc., etc., because you're confident, great at getting jobs, all the good stuff happens to you because you're confident. But then at the same time, when you're not confident, it completely and utterly wipes you out, and to be perfectly honest, where do I get my confidence from? For me to say I'm confident, well, I don't. My confidence comes from the ability to be a nice person. And yeah, I make mistakes. I've made many mistakes in my life. But at the same time, everybody makes a mistake. I can stand here now and say, in all honesty, nobody can stand in front of anybody and judge them, because they will, at some point in their life, they would have done something wrong. There would have been some mistake they made. You're not human unless you're making mistakes. And if you're not making mistakes, you're certainly not taking advantage of the world. That's a really important thing, because you make mistakes by trying things. This is how we develop as human beings. This is why we are where we are, and technology has advanced so rapidly. Because people are trying new things. We wouldn't have jumped from fucking space, would we, in a spacesuit into the, down to the ground, if people weren't trying things. All these things are tried, but unfortunately, things will happen along the way. You will make mistakes, but we all make mistakes. No one should judge anybody. Nobody, until you've walked, a mile in their shoes, nobody can judge. And I've made some fucking horrendous mistakes in my life. But do you know what? I worked tirelessly to rectify them and make them better. And I think that's what's important. I'm a lot more open, a lot more honest. I know what I like. I know what I want, and I think that my journey has taken me to the point where now I'm at the point now where when I make these decisions and I go, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to eat that, or I don't want to go there, people are like, well, just give it a go. Look, mate, I'm fucking 40. Nothing's going to change, mate. I'm not going to waste my time doing something that I really don't enjoy, because, and I know that sounds really harsh, because you've got to jump out the boundaries at some point. But I have boundaries, obviously. I don't know how where they are, but I know they're somewhere around there. But what I mean is, I know my boundary is I will try things. I try different things. It doesn't really affect me, but you shouldn't force that situation until you know the person's boundaries. And you might put them in a situation where they're absolutely terrified, and you completely and utterly undo your friendship just because you put them in a situation. But then again, that reverts back to the fact that we're nurturing the like-minded people around us. So I know for a fact that my like-minded friends that are now surrounded me, we're on the same path, we're on the same wavelength. So we know we're going to look after each other, we know we're going to feel safe, we know we're going to, no one's going to try and get me to do something that they know I wouldn't do. Do you know what I mean? It's like saying, James, I know you don't like fish, because fucking hell, everybody should know that by now in the world, because you put a fish near me, I'm literally going to rip your ears off. I can't stand them, but I can fish all day long. I can catch fish, and I love catching fish. But you cook a fish, you put a fish near me, you gut a fish, do anything in front of me, I smell fish, and I violently throw up. It's not good. It's not a good situation. I don't know why. I just have a massive. But if someone says to me, and I get this a lot, oh, but you're 40 now, try it. Look, mate, I know what I fucking like. I know what I want to eat. If you want to eat fish, fuck off to the other restaurant. Do you know what I mean? That's how bad I am. And that's because I'm like, it'll ruin my meal that I'm paying for. Do you know what I mean? So I'm a little bit selfish. But then at the same time, I think that seafood is quite a niche food, isn't it? You know what I mean? Not a lot of people like it, so you're going to be the minority in a meal. So for that one meal, I'd really appreciate it if you ate chicken. I'm a little bit like that. Anyway, digress massively, don't I? And I'm hearing that word digress chucked around quite a bit amongst my friends. So positive news is they're listening to me. And they're getting hold of my dialect and how I talk, which is amazing. I love that. Literally, Kieran, my mate was chatting to me, Kieran, and he was like, all right, dude. I was like, yeah. He goes, and he started going off on a tangent, and I was like, oh, sorry, mate, I digressed. Like, shut up, you tit. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it because it's amazing news. I'm just going, you know, as well as well-being. Talk about my week really. Started off okay, really, from the last one. What did I do? So Monday was, it wasn't a bad Monday, really, you know. But I did notice towards the end of the week, I was still it was a bad one, so I was still feeling a bit rough. But yeah, pretty mellow, really. But I think that the heavy drinking at the weekend wiped me out for the whole of the week. I'm in a lot better place now. So I've got to be conscious of that, really, and that was because I was sort of drinking a bit Larry, really, you know, not Larry like fighting, but you know, it was we had me and my mate, you know, with all three of us had got together and we hadn't drunk together before, and you know, it was just one of those ones where it just got a bit wild, you know, people were drunk, etc. But you know, we only live once. But the knock-on effect to me was quite harsh mentally. It kind of wiped me out when I got to Friday again. I was, you know, very stressed, very tired. Excuse me. Yeah, I wasn't the best, and then I went to do a bit of gaming on Friday night, and I just couldn't cope with the stress of just, you know, the gaming. I just wanted to relax. I had a real bad migraine. I had a real sore neck, you know, and a lot of the tension from the week. I've got a week's course next week, so you know, I'm trying to plan for those sort of things, and just caught up with me really, and then Saturday was kind of, you know, it was quite a positive day. But one of the things I did notice, and I really, really sort of kind of, whenever I've researched things and I've looked at well-being and stuff like that, and a lot of them say keep in contact, you know, engage with people. And one thing I've noticed is I chat daily to in our little group. You're fully aware of that, hopefully by now. But the positivity I get out of that, and this is where I lead on to the weekend. Positivity I get out of that is absolutely incredible. It's literally amazing. Like, you know, we're sat there, we were sending photos of each other, got to the end of the week, we made it. It was just real team spirit stuff. And not only that, I actually got a voice message from another friend of mine saying, you know, what are you up to this weekend and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, you know, and I did have a bit of a planned weekend, to be fair, because I was laying laminate flooring on Saturday, which I say planned, it had to be done. So, you know, I'd not done it before, but, you know, ripped the living room out, laid the laminate flooring, job done. I was like, yeah. And then Sunday, I'd actually planned, and we'll talk about this a bit more, my March dip in the swim, dip in the swim, dip in the sea, dip in the swim, swim in the sea, dip in the sea. That's the one. We planned it for Sunday morning, early hours, and that's a whole little bit in a minute. I'll talk about that. But so I'd had stuff planned, you know, and two of my friends actually had contacted me. So one of the guys sent me a voice message, and another guy said, you know, what are you up to this weekend? And I was like, oh, I'm doing this. He was like, oh, don't worry, mate, if you're busy, you know, just wondered if you wanted to meet up, go out for a walk or something like that. But do you know what? The positivity out of engaging with these people is absolutely incredible, because it's just nurturing the right people that want to get you outside. They want to, you know, do things, and they want to have a bit of a laugh and make memories, and it's just it's an incredible feeling to have. And I don't think enough men certainly don't get it. You know, we're kind of shy to sort of developing friendships and stuff, aren't we? We kind of just ride the coattails of our partners normally, and then just being friends with, you know, whoever. I think most men, we're either friends with people that we work with, you know, or you know, we're friends with our partners, husbands or boyfriends, whatever, you know, or whatever they might be. And that's normally where we get our friendships from. We don't really sort of kind of, it's rare to get nurturing people from your school days forward. You know, you kind of will take you different paths. I'm very fortunate. I've got one of my friends who I've known, like say 26, 27 years, something like that, whatever it is, 27, about 27 years, something like that. And, you know, we've been mates from school. So, you know, we've managed to nurture that for all those years. So I'm very fortunate, very lucky. And I'm don't get me wrong, I'm very humbled by that, to have that, because it's a great thing. You know, I think a lot of men, you know, without sounding hairy-fairy, they do need that. You know, they need something to sort of fluff you up. We don't take enough time for ourselves. We all spend all this time, don't we, talking about, you know, women, and when they have a child, and oh, you know, they're at home with a kid, they need to get out and do this, and we do look after their mental health quite a lot, because they're raising children, and anyone that's worked with children or had children worked alongside children will know how difficult they can be. So we're fully invested in that, and at the same time, whilst these children are being raised, and I've, I have to say, I can caveat that with one of my friends who, the one we went swimming today with in the sea. A absolute tremendous admiration for him. He works in schools with special needs kids, and he's just an absolute legend to do that, and how invested he is. Doesn't like taking time off because he just wants to be there for the children, and he raised his children. So super impressed. And I've always said, going along, that it's different. I'm not used to it because I haven't had that luxury. But men traditionally, when they go out, and they've got to be the sort of the sort of bread earner, so they don't really kind of get to look after their mental health. And again, I can also caveat the fact that my friend, has he had the care because he's been raising his children and bringing them up and doing a fantastic job doing it. But has anyone looked after his? Because for us, it is out the norm, and I'm not saying it's unnatural, but I'm saying it's out the norm to the traditions, if you like. And I put traditions in inverted commas. Air, what are they called? Air biscuits. I don't know what they are. Air quotes, that's the one. The air biscuits. That was a disco biscuit stroke. Air biscuits are fart in it, I think, if I recall. Anyway, disco biscuit. We all know what disco biscuit is. Sorry, I'm digressing myself here. It is a break from the norm, and I get that. But then also I look and say, well, has he been looked after? And clearly he hasn't. He hasn't been able to have that time, and I'm seeing a change in him, which is absolutely fantastic. And that's just nurturing that well-being. He's lost a stone in 4 weeks, I think. Lost a stone in weight, really determined. And I've got my other friend he's back on the fitness train. He's got his jacuzzi out, and he's turning it into cold water therapy in the morning because I'm like, dude, it literally brings you alive. And just nurturing, talking to those people and engaging with those people is just, it's really, really refreshing. Really is. And I know that we look at all these things in life, and we all look at how, Christ, dare I say it, LGBT plus or whatever it is now, and I don't mean that whatever it is now. I don't really know enough about it to comment. But what I do know is all these different things, Black Lives Matter and everything, and it kind of puts aside men really needing to be looked after. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think we take advantage of that enough, as in we don't actually care enough about it. Not in a negative way, but I don't think we do. And I've seen a change in one of my friends. I was trying to look there. Sorry, I was trying to look for the stat, but I can't find the bloody statistic. There was a statistic, and it's basically 40 to 49-year-old men. There's a 78% increase in suicides. I'm sure that was the statistic I read earlier. And that's it's quite disheartening, because I actually thought it was a bit lower. I thought it was the male age. There is a high suicide rate in the 30s, but 40 to 49 is actually the highest suicide rate. So it increases by 78%, because that's obviously when the pressures, I suppose, is. I don't know. Maybe that's when the pressures of family, when most men and stuff are getting children in their 15s, 16s, they become a little bit more expensive for a good couple of 3 years, don't they? Where the world is, they're eating like adults now, so you're not feeding, you're not feeding 2 adults if you've got that structure at home and 3 children. I'm just talking from my experience of my structure. You're not talking about feeding 2 adults and 3 children. You now, close to feeding 5 adults. So, going down to the harvester used to be for 50, 60 quid. Now you go to the harvester and it's, 90, 100 quid, without taking into account inflation and all the other good stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of pressures, isn't there? Because you've got 3 adults that are bringing in, and as I've discovered through mine, they've got 3 adults that they're acting like adults. They want to be treated like adults, but they want absolute zero responsibility. They just want to mosey on through life and have a good time. I can relate. I did the same, and that's why I left at 17 because I was like, if I'm going to go and do it, I'm going to go and do it. Then I'm just going to crack on. But I've seen, anyway, as I digress massively there, didn't I? So, just nurturing those things and bringing on to the well-being side of things. And I want to touch a little bit, actually, before I touch about today. In fact, no, I'll talk about today. So today, we, as I just alluded to, we organised our little monthly get-together, which is, it's not just what we do now. We do organise a lot more. In fact, I'm playing golf next Saturday. I say golf, and I'm going to play it. I'm going to make it sound amazing, but it's just 18 holes of pitch and putt, which is a bit more of a crack for me. I'm not too serious. I'm not into the trousers and the shoes and all the other good stuff. That's not my bag. See what I did there, pun? And I mean, it's not my bag, baby. What I am interested in though is I do like, there's nothing you can say really. I'm trying to think of a better way of saying this, but there isn't. I like smashing balls. I was trying to think. I was like, I already know I'm opening up the can of worms here, because as soon as I say this, but anyway, fuck it, I said it. I like hitting balls. You know what I mean? Yeah. Off my forehead, mate. Dong dong. Sorry. Making myself laugh here like a fucking idiot. But yeah, and there'll be my mate in a minute. He'll be woo 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 woo. Because that's the shit I do. Anyway, I'm acting like a child. But just notice though the difference in me. Please, just notice the difference in me since I've been nurturing myself. You listen to the podcasts, from 30 podcasts ago. And just because I enjoy this process and I enjoy talking, and by being open and talking, I'm actually nurturing, talking to my friends more. We're opening up a little bit more. I had like I say, I'm digressing, but I'll allude back to this. So we went out, we organised this monthly thing. I've done it. I missed it in February because I'm an absolute tool, but we're going to do it again in the next couple of weeks. We're just going to pop down for Sunday morning, go for another swim. It was brilliant. So we organised it, bit off the cuff. It was a bit last minute, and he was like, I think it was Friday. I think it might have been Friday actually, or Thursday night. We organised it actually, and I was like, yeah, well, we'll do that this weekend. I think it was on the basis of what you're doing this weekend, and we were like, I don't know, mate, I'm not really doing a lot, but I think we need to do this. We need to get down on the beach and do this March thing because we said we were going to do it every month, and so far we haven't. We've done it for January and we missed Feb, so we've gone down again. We went down today, and we're going to do it again in a couple of weeks, just to keep on top. So that'll be February's one, but I can tell you the temperatures aren't far off each other, so it kind of balances out a little bit, kind of in my head it does anyway, and if it works for me, then it works for you. So yeah, I'm going to, we organised it, we went down there. On the way down, we said to one of my mates, the one we were meeting down there, because he lived down that way, so my mate came to me, we jumped in the car, went to the fuel station. I put in, I think I put in about 65 quid's worth of fuel, which is about a litre. I had to drop the pun in there because I'm really pissed off with the fuel prices, but it was £1.81. Anyway, filled up, put some fuel in, and we got a coffee and on our way. And we met up with my mate, and it's quite hilarious actually, because this is how much of a friendship we've got. And I can talk about it really good because I've never had it like this. Well, I have had it like this because me and my mate have always been like this. But whenever you've sort of kind of brought other people in, and it hasn't always worked this way because they haven't got the same ethics, same ethos. But anyway, we met my mate, and he was, I really wanted to get there before you because we'll park on the beachfront because it's right by literally, you park and then there's a 4-foot path and then there's the beach. So it's a really convenient thing. And so basically when you get in the sea, you get out, you can dry off and get in your car because it'd be Baltic. I think it was about 9 degrees outside temperature. Everyone was in fucking, beasting themselves. I'll put the picture of us outside as the main graph for this. And for the main picture for this. So you'll see it. It's just hilarious. But so we parked up, and he said, I want to be there because I want to pay for your parking and so you could just roll up and be set up. Which I've said before, haven't I? I said this in one of my previous podcasts, how it's nice just to go to a place and just not have to worry, just have a good time and go home. Because if someone's coming to your local area, unless you're obviously all going somewhere and you're meeting up, but then you all collaborate together anyway and make the day eventful. But if you're going to a proper location, of course it's going to be easier, isn't it? So Excuse me, sorry, I've gone from cold to warm, so I've got a bit of a stuffy nose all of a sudden. So pitched up, but on our way down, we got our coffee, and me and my mate were just chatting. It was a nice, relaxing drive, literally to the point where I think for the first time in a long time I was, first time, every time, James, every time I was doing a speed limit, and to conserve fuel. And we were pitched along, and then on the way down we were like, oh mate, are you on breakfast? Because we were going down to him, and he was like, yeah, no worries. Anyway, we pitched up, reversed in. He turned up about 2 or 3 minutes later than us, just so he was getting through town. Pitched up, 2 beautiful, and I'm going to emphasise this because it was beautiful, 2 baps, roll baps, but they were like a bagely type ensemble. He had mayonnaise, he had tomato ketchup in little squirty bottles. We had 3 slices of bacon, cooked to perfection, slapped on. He even had a cup of tea with sweeteners, and then he had a flask of juice if anyone wanted a flask of juice with ice. And it was just magical. I'm not even playing it down. It was absolutely, like, we parked up, we had this, and we chewed the fat, came in, big cuddles, and, just nice to see everybody, loads of smiles. And then we walked, I think it must have been about 2 bit miles or something like that, to about 2, probably about 2 miles there and back, to the pier and back. And on the whole way, so it took us about an hour, nice leisurely stroll. And just chewed the fat, just opened up, just got talking about kids and life and stuff like that, and planning stuff. And it was nice. It just felt nice, natural, a good time. Really, just no stress. Pitched up. Everything was there for us. We went to the pier. We took some photos, because it was a beautiful morning. And then strolled back, and then took everything off, donned our beach shorts, and bouldered into the sea. And had it was fucking freezing. And I'm not lying to you, it was fucking freezing. But in there for 3 minutes, I think. 3, which doesn't sound like a lot, but we're talking fucking March, 9 degrees outside, so God knows what the temperature was of the sea. And it was pretty rough as well. I remember this one time, towards the end, me and one of my mates had our backs to the sea because it was like freezing. And my mate said, watch out. But it was, how the event's already unfolded when someone says watch out. It was exactly like that. So I was sat there, and I got absolutely wiped out by this wave that went over my head. And Christ, we're talking Bournemouth, mate. It's nothing spectacular, but the waves, it's not, we're not talking, Australian beaches here. But the waves were huge. And he said, watch out. And that was me. I was in the water. Anyway, as you can imagine, cold water therapy, absolutely incredible. Like, I've got muscles that I didn't even know I had, that are sore because I was so tense in the sea. We got out. We went and chilled out, had a little chat, carried on, jumped in the car and come home. And just felt amazing. Just felt absolutely incredible. We took some photos. We were engaging with each other afterwards. We were like, really good, still buzzing. And we're still talking like even, an hour ago. And we've all taken photos throughout the day of what we've been doing. And it's just really nice to get that positivity and get that engagement. And this is where well-being comes into it, because it's all part of me being happy and your friends being happy, and you all just look after each other. You just become, kind of like a little network, little sort of kind of like the Musketeers, you know what I mean? Sounds a bit corny, but you know what I mean? It's as it is, say it as it is. It's just a group of guys that are just having a good fucking time, enjoying each other, making fucking great memories and supporting each other. And it's really important to do that. We're all like-minded individuals. But one thing I want to touch on, which was into the well-being, and want to talk about today, with regards to this, and bleed it into something else, if you like. So obviously well-being was down there. And I want to just touch on something that I think, do you know what, I was talking about this morning, and it's actually come up 3 times actually today alone. And it sort of falls into the well-being category, but that's another anxiety area. Another area of anxiety that I've experienced in my time is social anxiety, and I still get this. And is it because of the pandemic? I think the pandemic hasn't helped it. I really don't. But whenever you are in a low mood and, you know, you're put into a situation where you don't want to be in that situation, you get that social anxiety, and what happens is you harbour and you feed negative thoughts. And I had one of my friends contact me, and he was like, he explained a few symptoms, and I straight away went, mate, you've had social anxiety there. And I want to talk about it because it is a really important piece to think about. And because you don't realise how crippling anxiety can be. And we've all heard about anxiety. You hear about panic attacks. You hear about people closing down, locking themselves into rooms and all that sort of stuff. And I've been there. I've had anxiety, and I've gone, fucking, I don't want to do this. And the main time I get anxiety is when I'm in a car. I get really bad anxiety because, especially if I'm not in control of the car, I get instantly, click of a finger, really angry at situations. Like if you drive in a car with me, I'm a completely different person. Completely and utterly different person, because I still get anxiety, because the way I look at it is, when I had my crashes, and I've explained, like, I can't process those crashes for some reason. I don't know why, but when I had those crashes, I was in control, in inverted commas, all 3 times. So for me, if someone else is in control of a car and I don't know what their skill level is, because I arrogantly think I'm quite a good driver, and I've ridden motorbikes, and I'm really into motorsports and all that sort of stuff, so I understand a lot about aerodynamics and downforce and understeer, oversteer. I understand a lot about those types of things, because I've watched motorbike racing since I was a little kid. I've watched Formula 1, I've watched rally, and I've ridden motorbikes since I was 14, and I've driven cars, and I've driven fast cars, so Christ, I've been in a Typhoon Eurofighter, so adrenaline and all that sort of stuff doesn't faze me. I mean, I get really excited with it. So for me personally, it's when you get into the sort of, I don't even know, I'm trying to think where I'm going with this, but to understand all the dynamics and everything else of that, I know for a fact that I can control all that, and I know about this, and I know about how a car works, and I know about how, if a car's unstable, I could have predicted almost that the Land Rover at the time, when I had my 3rd crash, I could predict that it was going to happen, because I saw him wallowing across the road, and I went, he's going to lose control, because I've been in a situation like that, and I also know how absolutely horrendous Land Rovers are, especially at high speed, on a motorway in wet conditions, with tyres that are not designed for that. They're not designed because they were all-terrain tyres. Well, all-terrain tyres aren't designed for maximum grip, are they? They are in all terrains, but they plateau at all terrains. They're not as grippy as your conventional tyre. So I kind of, when I had my accident, I knew I could see the things, that event, so to speak, more than others, was going to happen. And so I get really bad anxiety when other people drive, especially when other people drive quickly. I have a very, very severe lack of trust of people in cars, because I think because I don't want to go through that situation again. I don't want to get to the point where I'm, I have a crash. I don't want the airbags to go off. I don't want that noise, that thunder. I don't want the risk of not coming back. I don't want any of that again. So I get anxiety all the time. So I can fully relate to what that happens, and panic attacks, anger, exhaustion. Basically, what people don't realise is, because of the mechanism that's involved, is you go into, when you have anxiety, you go into fight or flight. Now, the particular incident that my friend asked me about was he went away for the weekend, and he went to a theme world, if you like, and had a couple of photos taken with some characters, etc., etc., and he felt like everyone was watching him. And I tried to explain to him earlier on, actually, that I can guarantee that probably 99.9% recurring, that no one in that situation was watching you for you. And I don't mean that in a negative way. but I know that they weren't watching you for you. What they were watching was you were at a theme area. They were seeing you having a photo with someone. They were there for the maximum experience because they wanted, so they were looking to see whether you were having something that they wanted to have. Is that photo worth taking? Because it might be. Is that going to be the next Instagram thing for me? Is that going to be the next TikTok? Do you know what I mean? Because that's what the youth of today and the generations think of. So us old schoolers, if you like, we tend to look at it as like, what the fuck are you looking at? And I still get it. I still walk past people and go, what are you looking at? Probably not looking at me at all. Probably just thinking, oh, God, he's got a nice beard. Because everybody should think that when they walk past me. Or as my mate described us this morning, he said, I'll just look out for the one with not a lot of hair, my friend, and one with too much hair, me. The beard has got ridiculously long. But yeah, so I get the whole thing with anxiety, and I tried to explain to him, I guarantee, mate, in a situation like that, they weren't. But at the same time, like, a thing that happened to me, so I joined my job, and I had social anxiety really bad because I'd taken myself out of a comfort zone somewhere I'd been for 9.5 years, surrounded by people that I cared about, knew inside out. We're like a little family. So I went to a new situation. Now, one of my self-conscious things is my weight. I've always had a self-conscious thing about my weight. And I've always enjoyed weight training to try and combat that negativity, because I do. I always, hence the reason why I love a beard, because it hides my double chins. But I've always had a conscious theme with my weight. So I had social anxiety, and for the first 3 months that I was in my job, I never took my jacket off because my puffer jacket fit perfectly, and I didn't need to worry about what I looked like underneath. I just wore it all the time. So there was a couple of comments that were made about that, but what people don't realise is that I had social anxiety. I didn't care about my weight, that it was worth talking about, but I was worried that you were judging me because of my weight. Oh, he's a bit chunky, because that is my hang-up. That is where I get worried. I always get worried about my teeth because I've got an obsession with teeth. I just absolutely, my teeth I've looked after since I was, with the help of my parents, obviously, since, I was sort of 15, 16 or 14 when I got braces. So I've really looked after them. So I get a bit sort of kind of self-conscious about them as well. So, I have my own hang-ups. I have my own anxiety. Obviously my biggest one that's relatable to this situation, and I can put, the symptoms are similar. So when I get into a car, I get anxiety, which is a similar situation to people getting social anxiety. It's like one of my best friend has recently displayed symptoms of that, which was unusual to me because we've been best mates for 27 years and we know absolutely everything about each other. I've never seen a negative side to him. I don't see a social anxiety side to him. I never have, because I've always been in the crowd with him and I've always liked attention. So I've never really, I suppose I probably blanketed it out. But what I've noticed is since we've been doing video calls and voice messages, he will get better. He doesn't realise this, but he will get better. Has anxiety about talking and stuff and things like that. And I kind of go, okay, I never really saw that side. He's like, even today, he gets a little bit of that social anxiety. He said he doesn't really know what to talk about. I suppose it's just different. You learn about people all the time, don't you? So, but it's relatable, as in I can relate my anxiety symptoms when I get into a car and I can just go literally 3 miles down the road into town, the same route I've been doing for fucking years. I can do that route and still get anxiety. Why did you let him pull out? Don't let him pull out. Fucking get right up his chuff box. I get so stressed out about scenarios. I stress everybody else out. But at the same time, I'm really confident behind the wheel for myself. So kind of like, but then I turn into fight or flight. And question would be, or the exam question would be, do you know what fight or flight is? Well, we've all got natural fight or flight tendencies. And when you're put into stressful situations, you'll either fight or you'll flight. So you'll either fight the situation and you'll sit there and that could be an argument and you go, fuck it, I'm going to have a confrontation right now. Or it could physically be a fight and you go, I'm going to fight this situation right now. That's me. I'm a fighter. I always have been. I don't shy away from a situation. I'm very confrontational. Not very confrontational. No, that's the wrong way of putting that. I'm not. I don't look for confrontation. And I actually try very, very hard now to stay away from confrontation because I don't like it, because I am, purely because of where it puts me, where it takes me. I'm not doing that for my safety. I'm doing that for their safety, because I don't have an off switch, and unfortunately that's why I control it. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't have an off switch, but what I mean is I don't shy away from confrontation. So if somebody's having a confrontation with me, if you're a flighter, you'll just walk off and they feel like they've won. And otherwise I go, nah, I'm not really fucking happy with how you're talking to me, mate. And I sit there and I go, right, I challenge you, so, and I pull out my leather glove and I slap them across the face. And before you know it, we're doing the 10 paces at dawn. That's the type of guy I am. I'll be a fucking great cowboy, I'm telling you now. I'll be shooting shit up, mate. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm a fighter, unfortunately. And that is why now I avoid confrontation. I do my damnedest to not have confrontation. And even when people have had confrontation with me, and I've had it in the last year, I think my 40th birthday, I had a very confrontational experience with my wife. And I don't mean it was an argument based on the fact that, I hadn't dealt with a situation with confrontation. And I went, no, I don't really want to fucking do that. I just want to leave it alone and walk away, because I know for a fact that if I get into that situation, it's not going to be nice. I don't want to fucking do it. So, but I've got the resilience to deal with that as well now. So I go, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not interested. So I get it. And this is where I was trying to explain to him, social anxiety can be crippling, but what people don't realise is, if you're a fighter, you'll fight it. If you're a flight, you'll flight. You'll walk away from the situation. However, in both of those scenarios, whether you're a fighter or a flighter, you're going to naturally be exhausted. 110%, because you put yourself into a stressful situation that you can't control. And I tried to explain that to him. You were in a situation earlier where, you've gone out to this theme world, you're there, you've gone there on the train, bus, car, whatever you've done, so you can't just walk away from the situation. So even when you have anxiety, you've had to endure that situation, which is going to exhaust you. And people don't realise that, one of the most debilitating thing for me that I notice is when I'm in a low mood, or even if I'm in a hyperactive mood, the exhaustion, and this is what happened last week. So, obviously I had the party, and then, I got ill. And then I was in a really low mood, and because I was in a low mood, I was battling demons all week, to the point where I think Wednesday I was in bed at 8 o'clock, because I'm fighting negative thoughts, and I do this weekly. And I'd got to Wednesday, and I was physically, I actually stopped interacting for a day, because I was fighting demons, and I've had some positivity on the way there by re-engaging with other people. So I've had the help, but sometimes you still need that night, that early night, or that time away, or that, off drink and crap food, but get on the good food. And one of the biggest things that I've learned is that if you're in that situation, you just need to go to bed. You have to sleep it off, because otherwise it just knocks on. It won't go away. If anything, it'll just get worse, because you're not giving yourself the rest and recuperation. But at the same time, it's quite easy to combat those situations. Now, one of the biggest things I do now, and it doesn't always work, but at the same time, it certainly can. It can certainly help. And most watches, apps, anything now, I think the Apple Watch does it, I think the Fitbit does it, and your iPhone, and I know that because I've had all three. So they know they three, but you can get a Calm app, and what it does 2-minute breathing techniques, and what it does is just in a situation like that, if you're uncomfortable, take yourself out of the situation and just breathe. Breathe for 2 minutes, and just breathe with the app, and it tells you to inhale and when to exhale, so you control your heart rate. And I do this now, and I do this without the app actually, because I've done it for so long, and I've really engaged with it, my breathing techniques. That what I've indirectly done is I now just do it. I just do it as habit, and this is where I talk to you about make it a habit all the time. You need to make these coping mechanisms a habit. You need to make these changes into your life a habit. And one of the biggest things that I've noticed is that ability to calm your breathing down. But one of the other big situations, don't put yourself into that situation in the first place. So if you have anxiety and you think to yourself, oh, okay, so, and I'm not picking on my friend because, I mention him a lot, but it's quite a relatable situation, and you've probably all been there. But if you're going to go and have a photo, then, whoever you're with should understand. If you don't want to do it, just say, no, I'm not really interested. I mean, I've certainly, my wife is very, very, how can I put it? Chilled and relaxed with those situations. So if I say to her, I don't want to do something, then she doesn't even say, oh, for God's sake, let's do it. She just knows, then, because I don't not do things for the sake of not doing things. I'm always going to say yes. Because I love life and I love life experiences, and I will say yes, and I will put myself into those stressful situations, and I will experience things. And if I don't like it, I'll never do it again. And if I don't think I will like it because I know my personality, I just say no. And I get a lot of invites, and people say to me, my missus will say to me, do you want to go to such and such? And I go, no, I don't. Okay. Why? Because I will feel social anxiety. I won't enjoy it. It's not, they're not my people. That situation isn't my people. Whatever it is, I'm 40-year-old, mate. I don't really want to put myself into a situation. Do you know what I mean? I know what I like. I know what I want to do. I know what makes me happy. So let's just enjoy it. Take yourself out of the comfort zone at the right times and with the right things, the right challenges. So one of my pieces of advice in that situation is just take yourself, or just have that open conversation. And this all revolves around, every single time, it revolves around being open and talking about yourself and about your problems. But you need those people around you to understand what you're going through. And I do. I say that now. And sometimes, I get a bit of backlash sometimes because, people, it might be a situation I need to go to. But at the same time, I'm in a situation now where, I've had this for, 9 years or whatever it's been. So everybody knows what I'm like now. Everyone knows if I go somewhere and I've had enough, I'm just going to fucking get up and go. I've literally had enough now. And I don't do it in an arrogant way. I do it in a polite way. I just go, no, thanks very much. It's been fucking brilliant. But, this is not my bag. But I've made the effort. I've come along and done it. So I think in those situations when you get anxiety, you need to learn to control them, and you need to learn to master them. And that's a long process. But the first thing it starts with is, number one, not putting yourself in those situations if you can help it, but not avoiding them at the same time as well. Because you need to give yourself a little bit of stress, don't you? And that sounds very counterproductive, doesn't it? It sounds like, well, what was he doing? What do you mean? You just said no, and now you're saying going along, but do no. Small doses. Or if you go along and you enjoy a situation, enjoy the situation, but don't put yourself into a situation where you're going to feel uncomfortable. And anybody that's with you and around you should understand that. They shouldn't question it. They go, yeah, no worries. But then, it's just baby steps until you can learn to deal with those situations. This isn't a long-term problem. This is a short-term problem. Or it'll become manageable. I will have anxiety in a car for as long as I can live, because the car crashes were that severe for me, and I can't process them. Now, everyone will still be saying to me, you can go there. Look, mate, I've tried hypnotherapy, I've tried acupuncture, I've had 38 therapy sessions, I've tried EMDR therapy, hypnotherapy. I've tried them all, mate. I've actually done 5 hypnotherapy sessions, and to talk about that, when I was hypnotized once, when I was being hypnotized, I actually imagined myself, because I want to go snowboarding, I imagined myself snowboarding down a hill with my mate, my best mate, and we were just in random mountains, just skiing down a fucking hill. That's where the hypnotherapy took me. And the guy said I was doing the skiing motions, everything. Never fucking skied in my life. I've done snowboarding, never skied. But I love the snow, and one thing I'm trying to look at doing is, I like wakeboarding. I'm trying to look at going away in the snow in the winter, because a nice little snow holiday will be quite cool, because I like the snow and I like snowboarding. So, but I'm always going to have that. It's always going to be there. But I learn to deal with it, and I learn to put myself into situations but control my situations. But what you need to understand is, excuse me while I have a little sip of my drink, please. Lovely. What you have to realise is the knock-on effect is going to be quite brutal for the day, the evening, and like I said to my friend, you're going to be wiped out today, mate, because you've put yourself under a lot of stress. And stress is the biggest killer in men, because it festers and festers and then develops into depression. It develops into anxiety about certain things, and the current world we're living in is not helping. But it's really important to take note of that and to find your coping mechanism. Yes, it's nice to put yourself into a healthy situation, but remove the negative thoughts that go along with it. And if you're having negative thoughts, take yourself out of the situation and then just say, give me 2 minutes, or do you know, whatever. Go and have 2 minutes. Have a little chat with yourself in a nice way. Just sit there and do some breathing and go, they're not here to look at me. I'm not here for this situation. Or, you know what I mean? You need to try and build yourself up until you get to the point where you'll become confident again, because it's just a lack of confidence. That's a big section, by the way, for the next time. I just literally, because there's so much I want to talk about with confidence, and hopefully I can do it justice. But yeah, it's really important. Anxiety is a massive, massive thing, and if you're not looking after yourself, and I can revert this straight back round again now to well-being, and if you're not looking after your well-being, you're going to nurture these negative thoughts, because, if you're not going out and doing exercise, then you're not feeling confident. You're eating poorly, probably. So, if you're eating poorly, then you're drinking. If you're drinking lots, do you see the pattern you've got here? A lot of negative toxins that are being engulfed in your life. Now, I'm never going to stop having a nice cheeky gin, because I enjoy it, and I can have them in moderation, and I can have a good night on gin. That's fine, but it's having it in moderation, and it's like making sure you have your fruit, your vegetables, etc., etc. Making sure that you're eating healthy. If you're eating healthy, you're drinking healthy, recommended amounts, not binge drinking, getting plenty of hydration, plenty of fluids. That's one of the most important things, is getting your hydration into you. If you're doing all those and looking after yourself, you're getting out doing exercise, you're feeling confident, then these anxiety things won't harbour and fester, because a lot of the anxiety that you'll get, and a lot of social anxiety, is based around what your perception is, or what you think everyone's perception of you is. So you all think that people are thinking of me like I did. Oh God, he's... Yeah, I'll fucking look at fat boy here, and that's what I used to think. I used to think, fucking hell, they don't give a shit about my weight. Fucking hell, they don't give a shit but I felt like that, and they don't give a fuck about what you look like. So many people have got their own worlds that are going crazy, and we're here talking because the world is crazy. So it's just massively important to look after yourself. Make sure you're doing fitness. Make sure you're talking openly. Make sure that you're looking after yourself with plenty of water, plenty of fruit. These are the little things. I've even got, like, literally, I saved this little thing, and I'm going to give you the little quick segments just to show you about, because this is all about well-being, and how these things, when you're not doing well-being, you're not nurturing the things to look after yourself. So, number one, this is all from Men's Health. This is so I'm not saying it's credible for any reason, but it's Men's Health. It's a big magazine. They're going to post good content. So I was looking about nurturing sort of well-being, really, and I was going, well, how can we do it? And it keeps coming back to the same things I'm talking about all the time. So it's like, talk about your feelings. Talking about your feelings can help you stay in good mental health and deal with times when you feel troubled. And that's what I'm doing. I'm talking to you. This is what's helped me get to this point, because I'm being open about what my problems are. Shit, I haven't experienced that before. As I've had from my friend who literally sent me a voice message going, I've had this and this, and I've gone, social anxiety, mate. You need to look after yourself. And the well-being will come in involved is afterwards as well. You don't realise, if you have a tattoo, you have a piercing, you get aftercare, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Well, the same needs to happen when you get anxiety. You need that aftercare. So you do need fruit. You do need plenty of water, and you need good sleep. Those are the three things you need, because if you don't get those things, all the nutrients that you've been abusing because you've been stressed at high levels are not going to be recuperated. So you need to put them in. Give yourself in the morning before you go into a social situation, take a Berocca just to get those vitamins in you, get everything surging around. But here we are, number one, talking about your feelings. You have to. And it's dragging down and actually cutting through that stigma behind talking about yourself. You know, we're not talking about going in and being fluffy, you know, my left nipple's harder than my right nipple, because, you know, that's not going to float my boat. Probably want to see it because I'm a man and go, "Woo, yeah, fair play, mate, that's massive." But that's just because that's a man thing, isn't it? You know what I mean? But we're not talking about. We're just talking about, like, mate, I had that fucking experience there, and I don't know how to deal with it. Oh, mate, I've had that before. Fucking boom, 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 and you get talking. Number 2, keep active. Well-being. This is what it is. Regular exercise can boost your self-esteem, can help you concentrate, sleep, and look and feel better. They're all massive things. You need regular sleep. You need your 7-8 hours sleep a day. You need to boost your self-esteem. You need to feel confident. You need to look and feel better, because you'll dress better. You'll become more confident. If you're more confident, you're uplifting. If you're uplifting, you're organising things. If you're organising things, you're with your friends. Do you see what happens? It just falls. It's like a fucking set of dominoes. It just falls in place. It's the best way to do it. Here we are. Number 3, eat well. What we eat may affect how we feel. For example, caffeine, sugar can have an immediate effect. And we all know about this. We all know that caffeine and sugar gives us a quick, instant high, gets us up there, but the crash is horrendous. And I try to avoid coffee. I'm in the process of selling a coffee machine. Not saying they're negative, because they work for some people, and I do like a good coffee, but at the right time. You know, it's got to be the right time. And sugar, obviously, you know, we try to move away from them. But the things we can do is lots of different types of fruits and vegetables, whole grain cereals and breads, nuts and seeds, all fibre stuff, oily fish, and plenty of water. It's all stuff we know. Oily fish, you come near me, I'm going to probably rip your ears off, because I can't stand oily fish. You should see me taking a bloody omega-3 fish oil tablet. Fucking hell, it's the only way I get my fish oils. Drink sensibly. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Everything in life's in moderation, isn't it? For God's sake, you know. We often drink alcohol to change our mood. Well, we do. We try to relax, don't we? Or we try to get merry, as okay, or absolutely bungalowed or gazeboed. You know, you can put any context on the end of it, can't you? I was doing that with my daughter the other day. She was like, I said to her, I said, oh God, I was absolutely bungalowed last night. And she went, you were what? Bungalowed? And she's 16, by the way. And obviously I'm just saying, so she should know about the, you know, the drinking terms and stuff. Probably knowing her, she just doesn't tell me. But you say, oh, I'm absolutely bungalowed. And she was like, what? I was like, you can say it with anything. And absolutely gazeboed. I was absolutely fenced, mate, last night. You know what I mean? I was absolutely carported, mate. You can just literally say it with everything. Oh my God, I was absolutely lampposted, mate, last night. You were lampposted. You can do it with anything, anyway. But drink sensibly. It's obvious. And we do. We drink because we fear the loneliness. You know, we hope it will get away from the negativity. But what we don't realise is the next day, the after effect of the hangover is just as bad. Keep in touch. I'm going to stop at 5, actually, because I think there's so much more I can give you. But this is all of those, you know, keep in touch is another thing. Strong family ties, supportive friends can help you deal with the stresses of your life. And it's really important. And do you know what? I watched a little segment, actually. And do you know what? I follow this website. And I think it's nothing. It's not Pornhub or anything like that. Chill out. I watched this one. It's BBC Archive. I say BBC Archives, I think it's called. And I was watching this one earlier on. And I was talking about, and I could see the principle behind it, but at the same time, I acknowledge it's very, 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 very sexist. In today's standards, you would not be allowed to do this. But they used to have working men's clubs where, you know, anybody could go into the working men's club, but there was always a snooker room and a separate bar that was for men only, and that was the men only section. And they did these interviews with these men from the, and this was like, I think, sort of early 80s. And this guy said that, because no women should be here, we're not having women in here. And he went, well, where should the women be? Well, you know where the women should be. He went, no, he's going to be in the kitchen. And the guy said then, and I think it was like 1983, the guy said then, that's a very, very sexist thing to say, mate, you know, diversity and all this. And they were mentioning diversity then. But it never grabbed, it never grew, did it? It never caught on to it in the 80s. We just went, you know, because we had a lot of working men in really shit conditions, you know, mines and all that sort of stuff, going and steelworks, and they were just going, do you know what, mate, you can jog on, mate, I need my place and space. And I think we do. We all need a bit of space, actually. It's really important to get a bit of space. But I was watching this, and it just goes to show that even then in the 80s, men were in a place where they could all get together, drink, and talk, and just get it out your system. And we probably did in the corner, we had chats and stuff like, fucking hell, old Betty, she's grinding me down, mate. Not in a good way, you know what I mean? They probably did do that, but we don't have that network now because, we are a very diverse group. And I think that's good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not taking it away. But at the same time, where do men go to be able to talk about these things? What do they do? How do they talk about things? And it's really important to talk. One of the biggest things that I've noticed, and with people engaging with me, and I absolutely love this because this podcast I want it to grow. I really do, because for me, the more feedback I get, the more I talk to people, the more engaging it is for me. You know a lot about me. Probably know how I tick. You're learning stuff about me all the time. But hopefully these things are helping you. I really do hope they are, because I don't take this lightly. I've learned a lot, and I've understood a lot, and I'm trying practices all the time to make my life better. This is not going to be an overnight thing, but I have noticed, but by removing all that negativity and all those other things, when I deal with the stuff I have to deal with, the stress, the strains of life, as I call it, I'm surrounded by people that want to look after me. My mate went and got a haircut today, and he took a photo, and he's like, dude, fresh cut. And we were like, mate, that's amazing. Just real nurturing it, because he's looking after himself. He's losing weight. He's feeling good about himself. I felt like crap last week. I said to you, I was sat there in the morning, and I went, fucking, I've got 12 hours flexi. I'm going to go and get my haircut. I'm not doing anything right now. I'm going to go and get my haircut. And I didn't have anything in the diary, so it wasn't like I was compromising operations, as they say. I had the ability to go and do it, and I don't think enough men do that. I went down, I paid this guy £25 in the Turkish barber. I had the full works, the in-ears, the wax, the full works. This was Thursday night. I just went, do you know what, mate? I've got 12 hours flexi. I feel like shit. I'm going to go and get my hair cut. So I went down, and they had this special offer, £25, head massage, haircut, beard trim, wet edging shave, so he gets all the edges of the beard literally pristine, nose wax and ear hair burning. And I was like, do you know what, I want to feel pampered. It's an hour, do you know what I mean? And I did, and I came out, felt fresh as a fucking daisy. I felt confident, I felt great. I had trousers on, I was like, yes, trousers, shoes, I was donning the gear, my nice jacket on, walked into work on Friday with purpose and vigour, like, yes, I feel great. We don't pamper ourselves enough. We sit in sloggies, we just relax and chill out. We don't do a lot, do we? But it's really important to keep nurturing that. Because what that does is when you look after your well-being and you do things for yourself and you do things with the people around you and you go out and have a bit of a laugh, what you end up doing is actually nurturing positivity in your life. You actually grow, you become a better person, you're surrounded by like-minded people, you invite them over, you do things, and that's what I said, and invite a friend. Still waiting for that invite, you know what I mean? So either I've got no friends or I've got lazy fucking friends, one of the two. Banter. But I appreciate it's difficult. I appreciate it's difficult to make that first step into doing things. But at the same time, you need to make that step, because we're all confident men at the end of the day. We just need a little bit of nurturing. Excuse me, sorry. That was a bit... It's because I'm well into 60 minutes. I'm like, woo! So anyway, on that note, actually, I should knock it on the head. I should, but I hope you've got a lot out of this. Feedback is always welcome. Jump on my Facebook page, Gentleman's Talk, The Gentleman's Talk. Jump on the Facebook page, leave a message. So there might be something you're struggling with that you need a bit of a hand with. Something that I might have experience with to help you out. Like I say, this is a positive journey. If not, and you just like listening, then I'm just going to keep talking anyway, because I enjoy it. But I'm going to start tomorrow morning, so stand by for my motivational minute, which is my thing I'm doing weekly, just to start the week off. I'm going to do it on Mondays, so we've got reflection time on Sundays and motivational minute, just a little thing to listen to. Start your week with a bit of positivity. Yeah, just something I'm enjoying doing, because it means I get to read stories and have a bit of a giggle with that. So, and I like researching up the stories. I got a really busy week next week, so it's going to be a stress and strains week for me. I've got a full week's course on Legionella, but I'm doing all five 1-day courses consecutively. The woman was like, "I think you'll be okay doing it." So I bloody hope so. It's a lot of information, so it's going to be very exhausting for me. But already I'm excited. I'm booking for golf next weekend. And a Sunday market on Sunday. I'm going to farmers market. So little things like this, I'm already planning. So I know I'm excited throughout the week, because I know I've got the weekend to look forward to. So you grind through those bad times and those troubled times, because you've got something to look forward to, because you need something to look forward to. Whether it's daily or weekly, monthly, or you're going on holiday, whatever it is, you need something to look forward to and keep positive, and surround yourself by those positive vibes. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. I've droned on for 65 minutes, so I apologise. Look out for Motivational Minute, and I want to talk about confidence tomorrow. I think I'm just going to give you some tips and tricks to try and get you to be a bit more confident about yourself. You need to be open-minded with any of these topics. Be open-minded, embrace the things I'm talking about. And they might work for you. They might not. They might not work. You might go, "That's fucking stupid. I don't want to do it." Then it hasn't worked for you. But I'm always going to research different areas. I'm always going to try different things. But at the end of the day, the whole basis of these chats are to get you to start thinking about yourself, get you to start nurturing your own mental health, well-being, to build up the resilience to be able to manage your day on a daily basis. That is what's important about this. We spoke about well-being, social anxiety, and all sorts. So it's really important. These are all encased in depression, low moods, PTSD, anxiety. They're all encompassed in these different things. So we need to develop coping mechanisms to get us out of there. And hopefully that's what I'm doing here. So have an amazing Sunday evening. It's nearly 8:30 for me, so I'm going to go and get a nice cup of tea and just relax, do a bit of Rick and Morty, because I've still got one more episode to watch. My mate's going, "I'll get some time in." He can shut up, piece of shit. You'll know what I mean by that. But yeah, thank you for everybody for listening, and thank you to the people that know me that have joined this journey, embraced it, and we're growing together. It means a lot to me. It's certainly bringing massive smiles on my face to be engaging with like-minded people on a daily basis. It's really important. I feel part of a group, and it's nice to feel part of something, because that's what we all aim for, to feel part of something. And for so many times you think you should be part of that thing because you work with them, or you should be part of them because your partner's friends with such and such, or whatever, You don't have to be, and I've realised that now. Actually, fuck all of you. Well, if you're going to go and see your friends, then go and see your friends. And they go, "Well, what's his name? He's going to be honest." I don't give a shit, mate. I really don't care, mate. I'm not your fall to guy. I'm going to go and do what I want to do. If you don't like it, fucking jog on. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that. You make compromises, but at the same time, if it's not a compromise that's going to work for you and waste your time, don't fucking do it, mate. Jesus Christ. Time's too short. Go and spend the time making the memories. And I know we've got to do these things, but to an extent, don't force the hand. I always say to my missus, "Well, if you want to go and do something, we can do something together." You know what I mean? Let's go and do it together. But you've got your friends, I've got my friends. It's the way I've always been. But anyway, I won't divulge on too much, because it's nearly 70 minutes. But thanks for listening. Have an amazing week, though. Please do. And don't just have a week. Have a really good week. Listen for my motivational minute in the morning. Get that started. Get that going. I might even, in fact, actually, I think I can schedule it. So I might even do my motivational minute tonight, and I'll upload it, but I'll schedule it for 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to ping, hopefully. If not, and it doesn't work out, I'll just bloody upload it and listen to it at 7 o'clock in the morning, yeah? Just to get you going for the day, get you going for the week. And we'll smash it out together, all right? So have an amazing night, and I look forward to speaking to you all too. Take care, everyone. Bye.